But then I realized it would have happened just to someone else. You were about to enter 4 years of access to drunk girls and parties, and if this is the foot you started off on, then it is right you did not continue. The night after it happened, he said he thought I liked it because I rubbed his back. A back rub. Never mentioned me voicing consent. Never mentioned us speaking a back rub. One more time in public news, I learned that my ass and vagina was completely exposed outside. My breasts had been groped. Fingers had been jabbed inside me along with pine needles and debris. My bare skin and head had been rubbing against ground behind a dumpster, while an erect freshman was humping my half-naked, unconscious body. But I don't remember. So how do I prove I didn't like it? I thought there's no way this is going to trial. There were witnesses. There was dirt in my body. He ran but was caught. He's going to settle, formally apologize, and we will both move on. Instead, I was told he hired a powerful attorney, expert witnesses, private investigators who were going to try and find details about my personal life to use against me, find loopholes in my story to invalidate me and my sister in order to show that the sexual assault was, in fact, a misunderstanding, that he was going to go to any length to convince the world he had simply been confused. I was not only told that I was assaulted, I was told that because I couldn't remember, I technically could not prove it was unwanted. And that distorted me, damaged me, almost broke me. It's the saddest type of confusion to be told that I was assaulted and nearly raped, blatantly out in the open, but we don't know if it counts as assault yet. I had to fight for an entire year to make it clear that there was something wrong with this situation. While I was told to be prepared in case we didn't win, I said I can't prepare for that. He was guilty the moment I woke up. No one can talk me out of the hurt he caused me. Worst of all, I was warned because he now knows you don't remember, he's going to get to write the script. He can say whatever he wants and no one can contest it. I had no power. I had no voice. I was defenseless. My memory loss could be used against me. My testimony was weak, was incomplete, and I was made to believe that perhaps I am not enough to win this. That's so damaging. His attorney constantly reminded the jury, the only one we can believe is Brock, because she doesn't remember. That helplessness was traumatizing. Instead of taking time to heal, I was taking time to recall the night in excruciating detail in order to prepare for the attorney's questions that would be invasive, aggressive, and designed to steer me off course, to contradict myself, my sister, phrased in ways to manipulate my answers. Instead of his attorney saying, "Did you notice any abrasions?" he said, "You didn't notice any abrasions, right?" This was a game of strategy, as if I could be tricked out of my own worth. As if I could be tricked out of my own worth. The sexual assault had been so clear, but instead here I was at the trial, answering questions like this. One moment. How old are you? How much do you weigh? What did you eat that day? Well, what did you have for dinner? Who made you dinner? Did you drink with dinner? No, not even water? When did you drink? How much did you drink? What container did you drink out of? Who gave you the drink? How much do you usually drink? Who dropped you off at this party? At what time? But when exactly? What were you wearing? Why were you going to this party? What'd you do when you got there? Are you sure you did that? By what time did you do that? What does this text mean? Who were you texting? When did you urinate? Where did you urinate? With whom did you urinate outside? Was your phone on silent when your sister called? Do you remember silencing it? Really? Because on page 53, I'd like to point out that you said it was set to ring. Did you drink in college? You said you were a party animal. How many times did you black out? Did you party at frats? Are you serious with your boyfriend? Are you sexually active with him? When did you start dating? Would you ever cheat? Do you have a history of cheating? What do you mean when you said you wanted to reward him? Do you remember what time you woke up? Were you wearing your cardigan? What color was your cardigan? Do you remember any more from that night? No? Okay, we'll let Brock fill it in. I was pummeled with narrowed, pointed questions that dissected my personal life, love life, past life, family life, inane questions, accumulating trivial details to try and find an excuse for this guy who didn't take the time to ask for my name, who had me naked a handful of minutes after seeing me. After a physical assault, I was assaulted with questions designed to attack me, to say, see, her facts don't line up. She's out of her mind. She's practically an alcoholic. She probably wanted to hook up. He's like an athlete, right? They were both drunk. Whatever, the hospital stuff she remembers is after the fact. Why take it into account? Brock has a lot at stake, so he's having a really hard time now. And then it came time for him to testify. This is where I became re-victimized. I want to remind you, the night after it happened, he said he never planned to take me back to his dorm. He said he didn't know why we were behind a dumpster. He got up to leave because he wasn't feeling well when he was suddenly chased and attacked. Then he learned I could not remember. So 1 year later, as predicted, a new dialogue emerged. Brock had a strange new story. Almost sounded like a poorly written young adult novel, with kissing and dancing and hand-holding and lovingly tumbling onto the ground. And most importantly in the news story, there was suddenly consent. 1 year after the incident, he remembered, oh yeah, by the way, she actually said yes to everything. So, he said he had asked if I wanted to dance. Apparently I had said yes. He asked if I wanted to go to his dorm. I said yes. Then he asked if he could finger me, and I had said yes. Most guys don't ask, can I finger you? Usually there's a natural progression of things, unfolding consensually, not a Q&A. But apparently I granted full permission. He's in the clear. Even in this story, there's barely any dialogue. I only said a total of 3 words before he had me half naked on the ground. I had never been penetrated after 3 words. He didn't claim to hear me speak 1 full sentence that night. So in the news that when he says we met, I'm not sure I would go as far to say that. Future reference, if you're confused about whether a girl can consent, see if she can speak an entire sentence. You couldn't even do that. Just 1 coherent string of words. If she can't do that, then no. Don't touch her, just no. Not maybe, just no. Where was the confusion? This is common sense. Human decency. According to him, the only reason we were on the ground was because I fell down. No. If a girl falls, help her get back up. If she's too drunk to even walk and falls, do not mount her, hump her, take off her underwear, insert your hand inside her vagina. If a girl falls, help her up. If she's wearing a cardigan over her dress, don't take it off so that you can touch her breasts. Maybe she is cold. Maybe that is why she wore the cardigan. If her bare ass and legs are rubbing pine cones and needles while the weight of you pushes into her, get off her. Next in the story, 2 people approached you. You ran because you said you felt scared. I argue that you were scared because you'd been caught, not because you were scared of 2 terrifying Swedish grad students. The idea that you thought you were being attacked out of the blue was ludicrous. That it had nothing to do with you being on top of my unconscious body. You were caught red-handed with no explanation. When they tackled you, why didn't you say, "Stop, everything's okay, go ask her. She's right over there, she'll tell you"? I mean, you just asked for my consent, right? I was awake, right? When the policeman arrived and interviewed the evil Swede who tackled you, he was crying so hard he couldn't speak because of what he'd seen. Also, excuse me. He was crying so hard he couldn't talk because of what he had seen. If you really did think they were so dangerous, you just abandoned a half-naked girl to run and save yourself. No matter which way you frame it, it does not make sense. Your attorney has repeatedly pointed out, well, we don't know exactly when she became unconscious. And you're right, maybe I was still fluttering my eyes and wasn't completely limp yet. Fine. His guilt did not depend on him knowing the exact second that I became unconscious. That is never what this was about. I was slurring, too drunk to consent way before I was on the ground. I should never have been touched in the first place, Brock stated. At no time did I see that she was not responding. If at any time I thought she was not responding, I would have stopped immediately. Here's the thing. If your plan was to stop only when I was literally unresponsive, then you still do not understand. You didn't even stop when I was unconscious anyway. Someone else stopped you. 2 guys on bikes noticed I wasn't moving in the dark and had to tackle you. How did you not notice while on top of me? You said you would have stopped and gotten help. You say that, but I want you to explain how you would have helped me, step by step. Walk me through this. I want to know, if those evil Swedes had not found me, how the night would have played out. I am asking you, would you have pulled my underwear back on over my boots, untangled the necklace wrapped around my neck, closed my legs, covered me, tucked my bra back into my dress? Would you help me pick the needles from my hair? Asked if the vibrations on my neck and bottom hurt? Would you go find a friend and say, will you help me get her somewhere warm and soft? I don't sleep when I think about the way it could have gone if the Swedes had never come. What would have happened to me? That's what you'll never